Okay, Year 7s, this is your first sheet that you are working on today, and if you look in the top right hand corner it clearly says shading, rendering and texture. So what we're doing, or what you're doing for the next 4 weeks is you're going to be using colour pencils to try and make objects look more realistic. Now the first task we've got to do is this one here. Now I'm going to use a green colour pencil, and what we're going to do, like in this little illustration here, we need to start off in a fairly dark tone, and we're going to gradually get lighter and lighter and lighter until it almost becomes white paper again. And we're going to do it in this space just here. It really doesn't matter what colour pencil you use, or if you don't want to use colour pencil and just use an ordinary pencil, then you can do. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by pressing quite hard at the start here, and as I work along I just reduce the pressure on the colour pencil until it starts getting lighter and lighter. Okay, now I've only gone about halfway along, so what I could do, I sort of shaded that way up and down first, but I'm just going to shade the opposite way this time. I'm just going to start off here being quite dark and heavy again, pressing quite hard. Okay, and I'm just going to work over the top of this stuff that I did before, and gradually release the pressure on the pencil until it almost becomes white and stop. So it's going from a dark through to medium tones here, through to light, through to almost white paper just there. Okay, and you can work into that at different angles if you want to just tidy it up and make it look a little bit neater. It's all about controlling your pencil. There we go. Now the next rectangle down, if you look at it, it's slightly different because we're going to go dark, and it's going to go light, 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 light till you leave a kind of a white band in the middle, and then it goes light to dark. So it's different to the one at the top. So we're going to start off the same. I'm going to go dark, let the pressure go. Don't worry about going over the lines, that's really not important. You're not at primary school anymore, so you're allowed to go over the lines. Okay, and I'm going to leave a white band, and then I'm going to start off light, and I'm now pressing a bit harder on the pencil, pressing as hard as I can there. Now that looks pretty messy, doesn't it, on the bottom there, but again we can work back into that, and we can just tidy it up by going in the opposite direction with a colour pencil or ordinary pencil. And that just tidies up the edges a little bit. And just keep working back in. Don't think you've got to get it right first time. You can go back and do what I'm doing and just make bits darker, bits lighter. And if you make something a little bit too dark, say in the middle, you can always get a rubber and rub little bits out. So hopefully that's from dark through to light, leaving a bit of a white band in the middle, and then light through to dark at this end. Okay, so that's the first task you need to do. In these boxes down here, it's pretty much the same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to colour each box in. I'm going to start off with a dark. Your sheets look better than this. This hasn't copied very well on my printer, but this will be a dark box just here, and the next box along should be a little bit lighter. So I'm not pressing quite as hard. The next box along will be a little bit lighter still. They look a bit the same, don't they? So what I'll do, just go back into that one and put another layer of colour pencil over the top of it just to make it a little bit darker. So dark, medium, light, and see how light you can get. You don't have to fill out all of these squares as long as you are getting different tones. So I've got a dark green, a medium green, a light green. I can go for a super light. I'm hardly going to press on the pencil at all, so just a light colouring of green in there. Is that slightly lighter than that? Just. I might just go over that just a little bit more. Go over that a little bit more. And go over that a little bit more. So now I've got dark, medium, light, lighter, and we'll leave that one white. And if you wanted to, you could do the same as we did up here. We could go light, very, very light, bit darker, bit darker again. Pressing really hard in this last square to make it a really dark green tone. There we go. So it's all about controlling your pencil and making these boxes darker through to lighter, leave the middle one white, and then light through to dark again. Okay, so that's the first task you're going to do. Don't worry about this section here. There's a little number 4 just there. Forget about this, we're not going to do that section there. When you have done task 1, 2 and 3, we're going to move over onto these cubes on the right hand side of the page, but have a go at that first. Okay, we're going to move on to the right hand side of the page now. I'm going to change colour pencil because I've worked in green over there, just fancy a change. Now over here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cubes, and there's instructions at the top of each one. It just says shading, fabric, wood, glass, metal, plastic. Okay, now I'm not going to go through every single one all in one go because that would take too long and you would get bored just watching me. So what we'll do, we'll just do 2 at a time. So shading, what I would like you to imagine is where it says the word texture over here, imagine somebody is up here shining a light down onto this cube here, and I want you to think about what sort of tones these cubes are going to be. So because the light is shining down, that top surface of the cube is going to be very, very light. So I'm just going to go over that with the edge of my pencil in a light tone of magenta, this pencil is. Can you hear my wife in the background doing the hoovering? Sorry about that. Right. Now, so that's going to be light. Now this surface, if there's somebody is standing up here with a torch shining down onto this cube, this surface, this bit here of the cube, is going to be a dark tone. So look back at the tones that we did over here, and that needs to become really dark. So I'm going to go over that in a really dark tone. Don't worry if it looks a bit messy, because as we did over on the left hand side of the page, you can work back into this and just tidy it up afterwards, crisping everything up make it look nice and dark. And don't be afraid to turn your paper around either. It can make life a lot easier if you keep turning your piece of paper around rather than keeping it in one position. There we go. I could probably tidy that up a little bit more, but that will do for the time being. Now, so we've got a light surface, a really dark one, and then this one has got to be some colour in between the two. So it's not going to be really light, it's not going to be really dark. It needs to be a kind of a medium tone. So again, we'll just work into that. Get a bit of colour on there in the first place. Don't worry if you go over the edge. You're not at primary school. We can tidy it up later on. Okay, so we've got a light tone, a really dark tone and a medium tone. Okay, so what I want you to do, that's shading. I'd like you to do exactly the same on the fabric one. So I'd like you to make that a light surface, make that a dark surface, and make that a medium surface. So we'll do those two and then we'll come to the other cubes later on. Okay, carry on guys.